Yo, Top Billin. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the 2020 schedule for the Atlanta Falcons here, right? I always locate that third preseason game. I see it's against the Bengals and Joe Burrow. So that'll have a ton of entertainment value. Hopefully everyone's healthy. You get to see a guy like A.J. Green, T. Higgins, and, of course, Joe Burrow, that number one pick right there. So got to have some entertainment value for that third preseason game. And hopefully as a dress rehearsal, it's able to prepare you for the season because, of course, you won't see any action from your elite guys in the fourth preseason game. So moving on to the schedule, man, I like to locate that bye week. It's in the 10th week, so that's pretty good because you get a decent amount of games after the bye to correct some stuff. We saw what happened with the Falcons after the bye week last year. The Falcons went on a really good tear and really set itself up, I think, very well for this season to where people shouldn't sleep on the Falcons, man. Anytime you have an offensive juggernaut type team like the Falcons are, like, I don't understand how you could downplay that, right? This guy right here, the Iceman, right? The Iceman cometh, Iceman taketh away. Iceman can play some damn good football. I'm tired of hearing sheeple people always talking about Matt Ryan and what they think that he can do. All I know is this guy has been one of the premier throwers of the football in the NFL for the past, 8-9 seasons, right? Even in years that people say, he sucks and stuff like that. Check this out. Now, not the best of years last year. We know what was going on with the team or whatever, transitioning back to Dirk Cutter, 14 interceptions. Definitely could do without that. But, in the grand scheme of things, that's not terrible, right? It's not good, but it's not terrible. 26 TDs, 4,400 yards, man. This guy's a freaking – he's going to get you some yards. And people are like, oh, he can't do this, can't do that. All I know is if you watch this guy starting – when was it, right? Oh, yeah, it was after his third season. Look at this, man. 4,100 yards, 4,700 yards, 4,500 yards, freaking 46, nearly 4,700 yards, 40, nearly 4,600 yards again, 4,900 yards, 4,000, 49, and then 44 last year. So think about that. And this year right here, 2018, obviously I wasn't covering the Falcons. I was covering Alabama, and I definitely made sure I paid attention to Steve Sarkisian. And I just remember Falcons fans always crying like little inches, talking about, oh, the offense sucks and this and that. And I'm looking like, man, this dude completed 69.4% of his passes for nearly 5,000 yards, 35 tutties, only 7 interceptions, man, 108 rating. In a year that people were poo-pooing on the offense and poo-pooing on him just in general. What type of shit does that – that doesn't make any type of sense, man. I don't understand that shit. All this dude does is come out and produce. He's the second fastest player to 50,000 yards in NFL history with a career completion percentage of 65. 65 in the damn NFL. Dudes can't even do that shit in college. He's doing it for a career in the NFL, man, with nearly a 95 rating for his career after somewhat of a kind of slow statistical start, right? Imagine that was just a little bit better the first couple of seasons at the very least. Well, we be looking at some crazy shit. 321 touchdowns to 140 interceptions, and this guy is the reason why you can't win football games? Get the fuck out of here with that. Come on, man. All right, back to business. But I say that to say this. There's not really any defensive juggernaut teams on this schedule, right? The closest thing would be Seattle. I don't think Seattle's defense is like it used to be back in the day. I don't really think any of these defenses are, right? The offenses are just too advanced, and a lot of guys are coming from college just not having the fundamentals anymore on defense, right? So there's some super talented defensive personnel on this schedule. I think about just eyeballing this, it's probably 5 of the top 10 defenses, but none of the defenses are like the Baltimore Ravens was. Maybe the Chicago Bears, right? The Chicago Bears, I think, have a chance to be very good on defense. Where are they going to be at on offense? You just don't know. And I put Atlanta's offense usually against anybody, even if you have a good defense. It's just one of those teams, man. They spread the ball around, very balanced, has a very decent vertical approach, but they will horizontally dice your ass to death. And especially if that run game is going with Todd Gurley, got to get that offensive line in check. To me, it's got shit to do with offense, man. It's got to be about the defensive side of the ball for the Falcons to really achieve greatness, in my opinion, right? So did they do enough on that side of the ball? Man, if you look at what they did towards the end of the season, right, you swapped out personnel A guy like Dante Fowler coming in for Vic Beasley. The loss of Adrian Claiborne, that sucks right there. But man, you got some young guys coming in, right? Some guys with a chip on their shoulder, like a Charles Harris, draft of Marlon Davidson and people like that. So infuse some more athleticism at the very least, right? You're getting a little bit more athletic on defense, and then on the back end, hopefully you can stay healthy with a guy like Keanu Neal in the drafting of A.J. Terrell. So to me, it's about that defense. But if you just look up and down the schedule, I'll just look at the games where you're just like, all right, you better bring your super A game. Obviously, Kansas City is going to be that. Better bring your super A game there. One of the bring your super A games is New Orleans, but that's your chief rival, and you always beat them. You know what I'm saying? Even when like it feels like they're a juggernaut team, or vice versa. When Atlanta's a juggernaut team, New Orleans will beat Atlanta. So that's one of them that like they usually just split. So I'm never really worried about that. So if you look at teams like the Cowboys or Seattle's a bring your A game type team, right? So we'll see about that. But the Falcons usually play Seattle very well, right? Even last year, right? You thought Seattle would have just smoked out the Falcons, but it wasn't. That wasn't necessarily the case there. Cowboys should be pretty good. Not necessarily worried about the Cowboys or the Bears. Would not be worried about Green Bay that much, right? Now, I'm not saying that the Bears or the Cowboys can't beat the Falcons, but they can. It's just not one of those games where you would go into it like, oh, no, there's no way you can win this game. The Green Bay games is kind of like that for me just because it's at Lambeau Field, and I feel like the Falcons never win at Lambeau Field, but it's the first time for everything or first time in a long time for everything. Panthers, that's good. The Vikings is a very good team, very balanced team, playoff team. Could have been in the NFC Championship game, but I don't think that's too daunting, right? Not at all. Lions, not really worried about it. Panthers again. The Broncos, not really worried about it. I like the matchups for some of these, being able to see teams like that. A.J. Terrell get to see Jerry Jeudy in his first season. Get to see CeeDee Lamb up here in his first season. So he have his work. Got Henry Ruggs over here, of course, right? So he'll be baptism by fire there, but they already have some veteran cornerbacks and Bleedy Ray Wilson and Isaiah Oliver and, of course, Kendall Sheffield, at least in his second year, that can do some of the heavy lifting until he comes around. But if you look at that first section right here, man, it's not too daunting. Look, they could win the majority of these games, in my opinion, if not all of them. That's just my opinion right there. Or they very well could get that ass whooped. It just goes either way. But it's not one of those where you just look at him like, oh, that's a tough road to hoe. Especially you get the Bears at home, right? So that's right. They get the Bears at home. The Cowboys, it's an away game. They play the Cowboys pretty good normally. And then you get Seattle at home as well. So after the bye week, of course, you got a couple of games with the Saints here. I always expect them to split no matter what, right? The Raiders could be pretty good, but we'll see where the Raiders are at. But you get them at home, right? Them traveling across for a 1 o'clock game as a West Coast team. That could be pretty tiresome for them there. Same thing with the Chargers. We don't know where they'll be. Pretty talented team there, but probably breaking in you're breaking in a new quarterback after your Hall of Fame quarterback is gone. Probably by that time it'll be a rookie in Justin Herbert playing and not Tyrod Taylor. Bucks. All right, so you gotta respect the Bucks. We'll see about the Bucks. So I want to do a little bit more on the Bucks versus the Falcons as far as the rosters go. I don't find the Bucks to be more talented than the Falcons, right? Adding Tom Brady and Gronkowski, that's huge and all this, that. But what are they going to do as far as the adjustment for the offense? Bruce Arians is who he is. I don't think he's going to want to work horizontally. He's still going to want to work vertically. That offensive line needs some serious help, even with drafting a young cat like that. Are they going to be able to keep Tom Brady upright for him to throw the ball down the field? And right, what you gain with him, with his football intelligence and him just being one of the greatest of all time, he is not a better vertical passer to me than Jameis Winston, right? Jameis Winston can let that thing fly, right? Because he's fearless. He doesn't mind getting hit, and he's very tough in that manner. He's a big kid. Can Tom Brady stand up to a whole bunch of hits like that? Got to get pressure on Tom Brady. If they're going to still run that vertical offense, you got to get him on the ground, rough him up a little bit, and then we'll see what they're made out of. But I don't find Tampa to be daunting. Like at the very least, I expect a split If not, you know what I'm saying, the Falcons go ahead and take care of business. Like Kansas City, that's pretty daunting. It's at Kansas City, but it's week 16. You never know how stuff goes, but that's definitely pretty daunting. Again, Tampa. So if you just look through that schedule, man, right, I hate to do the schedule. I really hate this, right? You know, I'm just only doing it for entertainment value. This is not necessarily how I think, because you don't know how these teams will be just by looking at a schedule in May. Some of these teams could end up being hot as shit. Some of these teams could be cold as shit, right? I remember one year, like when the Philly came off the Super Bowl, I was like, man, Philly about to go dynasty mode on these teams. Not quite, right? Same thing with the Los Angeles Rams. I'm like, man, the Los Angeles Rams coming out the Super Bowl, they are talented, they got this and that. 1 year later, like that whole damn team damn near is gone. So that's NFL football for you. A lot of parity in it like that. But let me know what you think out there in the comment section. Right, I know. Let's go ahead and play the game. You know, I hate this type of stuff. You know, I hate mock drafts and shit like that where you don't know and people try to, you know what I'm saying, base their opinion on media perception and shit like that. But what do you think, man? Should people be sleeping on the Falcons? Is that the wrong move? Don't fuck with them jerseys either, baby. Them jerseys looking better and better every time I look at them, man. And some of the gear that they put out and everything. Falcons going to be looking good on there with them chrome face masks and everything. Looking good on the field, playing good on the field. Let me know what you think, all right? It's your boy Murf, the Underground King, top Billin Sports, and I am out. Peace.
What more can I say?
Top Billin.